Kia ora teachers, Andy here, and I just wanted to do a quick little tutorial video on an online facilitation tool called Miro. So yeah, we'll jump straight into it. Yeah, if you're not familiar with who I am, actually, before we jump straight into it, my name's Andy. Currently, run a whole bunch of workshops, either with teachers or young people, and also in the process, I'm currently an induction category PLD facilitator. So, and at the end of the video, I'll let you know how you can access my help for free. But for now, I want to show you a tool called Miro that I've been using to facilitate online workshops. And just yesterday, helped a friend, Q Iorangi, who's in the group, just talk through how he can run his makerspace online. So one of the things I wanted to do was talk about orientation. So when you design in Miro, one of the tools that will become really important is this tool called a frame. So over here, you can create a frame, and then you can design within that frame. Create bigger boxes, yeah. And frames become really important down the line. So if you design frame first, which is what I'm going to call it, then you can help students to navigate how they go. So over here, we've got a frame, and it's called Start Here. So we've got a big frame, that's the day, and then we've got Start Here. We're going to push in. So for Q, he wanted to create a 3-week lockdown scenario. So in case we move into lockdown, what can you do? And then in red were the focuses. So one was a focus on hauora and health. So looking at Te Whare Tapawha, using the emotional culture deck. I can do a tutorial on that one day. And another one that actually came up was, as part of that was mindset. So we talked a little bit through that. The second focus was something that was a maker style. So we talked again about equity. So students having the same resources and the idea of designing packs that could be sent home for the makerspace members. And then lastly was how do we do the online bit? So onboarding is, for example, is something I'm doing here now. So when we use frames down along the bottom, not the frames pit, not the frame one, we're using frames. So this gives us the outline. We can jump between activities, and we can direct students' attention by getting them to click on that. We talked about how 90 minutes is, is sort of the length that you want to focus on, nothing more than that, ideally below that. Using breakout rooms, and also how you can use chat. So for example, in Zoom or Google Meet, you can use chat as your discussion place, or where you're doing think pair shares. And then a way also that we talked about, you can orient students' thinking and attention online. Like for example, that's me, Andy Crowe. Over here, we might have Q. Our mate Ray, he's jumping in there. So the people in here are focusing on giving that idea, and so you visually represent how you're discussing or how you want things to happen. So that's part of the workflow, and that's also in terms of participation of young people. You want them to focus in on that space. So you get them to put their names and focus on. So who's sharing here? My friend Emma, she's sharing her idea and we're giving her feedback. So that's the way you can orient and help your students to understand their roles in the current instruction. Over here is an activity that we talked about. So using the emotional culture deck, again, second time that's come up, so I think I'll do a quick tutorial on that. But essentially it's a deck where, I don't know if you can see the little video, but on the white cards, it's blurring out. It's got what would usually be negatively associated feelings, and then on the black cards it's got sort of positive. So this one's got open-minded on it, but it's blurring. So using that tool, students can fill in this little thing, and so again you're visually representing what we would physically be doing in the classroom. Another idea we spoke about was how you set intentions or expectations. So for example, primary would be a non-negotiable. And this is something that you would probably do in your class, you know, discussion. And then here we might have free for all. So I guess here the main idea of this video is to show you how to take, for example, when you were first setting up your class 2 weeks ago, you started school. You talked to your students about the expectations for your classroom and you gave them the opportunity to add their insights. And this is essentially what we're doing. Again, we're just creating a visual representation of what we would physically be doing together if we were in a class, but we're doing it online now. So you also engage those different learning modes. So for example, non-negotiable, there might be something about recording. So that student, so the student, a non-negotiable is that, yeah, recording is at your own discretion. So you can turn your video off when it's the recording part of a thing, a lesson. Up for grabs is sharing with others. So for example, I spoke to Q yesterday and I said, and I actually texted him again this morning. Do you mind if I share the board that we came up with together? I'm sorry, I keep looking to my right because that's where my little, this, yeah, in the middle. Yeah, that's where my little picture is in the Zoom recording. Yeah, so I asked him sharing with us. So that was up for discussion. And then a free-for-all might be, what's an idea here? Participating in group. So, oh, actually, I got this mixed up. That would be over here. A free-for-all might be ideas without names, right? So if a student shares an idea, maybe it's a challenging one, we can share that idea, but we don't use their names. We can share, and we might use their name and attribute. So this is just a gauge, I guess, of how comfortable we are online. Similar to if you're a PB4L school, you might have a discussion and co-construct the expectations around your school values. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing here. Yeah, so that's a real brief look at how you can use Miro. So the key focuses here is think about what you would do offline in a physical sense, and then how can you represent that visually. Two, have a clear discussion around expectations. So for example, I'll show you, we'll do a frame around here. I'm going to zoom in, call it expectations. And the orientation, so onboarding. So now, and then I can move this up. So now we're talking through, this is what we're looking at today. First up, we got to do our expectations, and you might be sharing screen, or you might get them to navigate to expectations. So that's what yeah, you believe they're focusing on. Yeah, that's about it. Miro is an awesome tool. There's templates you can jump into. So there's ones called building blocks. So for example, if I drop this in, I'll move this up here. We might have an activity where we want kids, you want your students to share their ideas. So they just grab from this. Or you might be in another situation where, for example, yeah, I'll drop this in again. All their ideas are on there, and then you grab, and from the building blocks, you grab another template, dot voting. Make this bigger. Over here, you can see students can add their name, and that's the color. So for example, if I liked Q's idea here, and my name's in here, Andy is the navy. I'll vote for Q's idea. And then you can imagine across, class, we have, maybe you can see where all the ideas are being situated, and that might be a focus for that group. Sorry, I went on a real tangent there. We can get into specifics. I just wanted to share, some of the ways that you can start thinking about using tools like Miro to orient and organize your learning online, and how in fact you actually have all of those ideas. You have them in the physical, make them visual in the digital, and then you should be sweet. Yeah, if you're keen for my help and for me to be able to work with you some more, I'm already working with some of you in this group, but if you want more of my help, or if you would like to figure out how I can help, yeah, just drop a comment, maybe help, or send me a message, and I can talk about how we can access some funding together. Yeah, and I can start working with you at your school. I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, thanks heaps for your time. Thanks heaps for being part of this group. If you think there's other teachers who would benefit from something like this, yeah, please don't hesitate to add them to the group. I think there's a couple of questions and then they automatically get added. Peace, guys. Thank you.